The Lord be with you.
And with your spirit.
A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Matthew.
Glory to you, O Lord.
Jesus was going through a field of grain on the Sabbath. His disciples were hungry and began to pick the heads of grain and eat them. When the Pharisees saw this, they said to him, "See, your disciples are doing what is unlawful to do on the Sabbath." He said to them, "Have you not read what David did when he and his companions were hungry? How he went into the house of God and ate the bread of offering, which neither he nor his companions, but only the priests could lawfully eat? Or have you not read in the law that on the Sabbath the priests serving in the temple violate the Sabbath and are innocent? I say to you, something greater than the temple is here. If you knew what this meant, I desire mercy, not sacrifice, you would not have condemned these innocent men. For the Son of Man is Lord of the Sabbath." The Gospel of the Lord.
Praise to you, Lord Jesus Christ.
Beloved brothers and sisters, there was a time a couple had a rift between them. The man was saying to the woman, "You have to go back to your parents. I don't think I want to marry you again. Look at how things are going wrong. Since ever you came into the family, since ever you are here, you have to leave. I need to reclaim my life back again." This was like after 10, 15 years of marriage. And this lady also retorted, "Oh, is this how I was when you saw me? Look at wrinkles all over me. These are as results of different sufferings, hardships I've undergone in your hands. So you had to also make me the way I looked, the time you saw me, and then I can return to my family." The woman at some point came to her senses and then called the man and said, "Do you ever remember when we started? How we started? How you were telling me that I am the apple of your eyes? How you were telling me that I was the sugar in your tea? How you were telling me that I was the honey in your life? That I was almost everything that you needed in a woman in life to succeed. And what has gone wrong now? That I am no longer all those things in your eyes." So it was at that point that the man came back also to his senses and apologized. And they continued to live their lives as husband and wife. Well, in our human language, you could say that the woman blackmailed him. Yes. In the scriptural parlance, we also have things like that. Remember, God, at many times in the life of the people of Israel, God would tell them, "Remember how I brought your fathers from Egypt into the promised land, how I bore them on eagle wings, how I fought the battles for them with other nations and gave them victory and led them into the promised land." So he would always draw them back using this word, remember, which in Hebrew language is zakar. And then at some point also, Moses had to also use this on God, which is called playing God on God or using God against God. When God wanted to destroy the people, when they turned away from him and began to worship the golden calf, he wanted to exterminate all of them and then began another nation with Moses. And Moses would tell God, remember what you did for them. Remember also how the people will laugh at you, that you took them out of Egypt and you are unable to lead them into the promised land. And because of this, you had to kill them all in the desert. Remember this and remember that. And God would rethink and then will begin to reconsider his initial decision. In the first reading of today, Hezekiah got the information or the prophecy from Isaiah that he was going to die from his sickness. So he needed to put his house in order. What did he do? He turned to the wall and began to recount to the Lord, starting with his prayer and using the same word, remember God, what I did. What I did for you, how I worked for you. Because history has it that Hezekiah was a good king after his father Ahaz, who turned away from God and started worshiping other gods. But when Hezekiah came in, he cleansed the temple. He turned the worship from idols to the worship of God and brought back the true religion of the people of Israel. So Hezekiah had to remind God of all these things that he did for him and ask God, just look at this. Is it just that I should die that way? And then God had a rethink and had to send back Isaiah to him to tell him that now he is no longer going to die. Rather, he would have another 15 years added to his years or lifespan, and he lived. So many times we need also to play God against God. We need to remind God, because sometimes it would seem as if God forgets, but we know he does not forget. But anthropomorphically, we could do that to God, like Moses did, like some of the prophets did, like Hezekiah did today in the first reading. But you could only do that if during your nice time you worked actually for God. What can you boast of that you have done for God? What have you contributed to God that you should, in your difficult moments, say to God, Lord, remember, I did this for you, I was this for you, I had to do this for you. So you could only be bold if actually you did for God. And God always remembers. He does not forget. He is not like human beings that could forget at any point in time of what one has done to them, especially the good ones. Because our brains are almost like wired in such a way that what we remember are the ills that people did in our lives. And most times we forget so easily the good ones that people did in our lives. But God neither forgets. He always remembers. And when he does, he always rethinks, especially when he had already pronounced judgment on us, because his mercy remains forever. And that is why, even in the gospel of today, he had to bring back the minds of the Pharisees, like telling them, have you not read this? Have you not read this? It's a way of calling their minds back. Did you not remember what happened? Did you not remember what took place at this place? So, at this point, you have to remember that God cherishes more mercy than sacrifice. So even in that your situation that you think it is running off hand, even in that your sickness that you think all the doctors are saying you have no headway, even at that moment when you think that, oh, I have reached the peak of this suffering, what am I going to do? God is able to reverse the hand of the clock in your life and could add more to you as he added more to the life of Hezekiah today. So for him, nothing, absolutely nothing is impossible for him. He is ever ready to show us his mercy because his mercy endures forever in our lives. But do not forget, God is always there for you. And do not forget that God remembers forever what you have done for him.